our endorsement committee is conducting the interviews.
Right.
That they will go back to our strategy team, and if we decide to endorse a candidate, we will take that endorsed candidate suggestion to our membership, and they will vote on whether we want to move forward. So we keep it member-driven.
I understand.
Our members consist of parents and teachers and community folk. Yeah, there's you. And our membership, we're proud to say, is about 25% teachers.
Okay.
So
All right.
we have a lot of teacher involvement.
That's good.
And 2 former teachers on staff, myself and Mark. So, conversation for another day.
I got you.
Okay.
All righty.
So Councilman Ford,
Yes, sir.
we'll be moving through, kind of going through the similar framework of the questionnaire, but really going a little further detail,
That's fine.
get some kind of bigger picture of where you want to take the city and really education. So that's our focus.
All right. Sounds good.
And we know that you, as an educator, have a lot of experience in public education.
Right.
So, and as a current councilman, really, I think we. So we have people coming in. Yeah. Who's there? Hello. Anybody there?
Who's on the line?
Betsy's on the line, but
Okay.
I didn't just buzz in.
Okay. That's someone else. So, what we really would like to hear is your kind of overview and strategic plan around education and your role as a city council member to move that forward, especially looking around consolidation and funding issues and how you see yourself as a councilman in those issues.
All right. Oh, that's the general question right there?
So
Okay.
to get off
All right.
get started.
We can go and get started on that. Well, I do have the unique pleasure and privilege to not just work in Memphis City Schools, but be on the city council as well. I only share that dual role with one other person on the council, and that's Bill Morrison, who teaches in the Shelby County Schools. He and I, as a matter of fact, we talk about school stuff all the time. It reminds me sort of like how my dad was with Brent Taylor on the council, because they're both in the same trade. But one thing that Bill and I love doing is we talk about how we can make sure that our students succeed. And so in council, where we're sort of limited in capacity when we start voting on particular things, especially myself, because I have to recuse myself for ethical reasons. However, I've noticed that, yes.
Is that legal or is that personal?
I have
you recuse yourself.
I have the ethics ordinance as
Okay.
well as the legal opinions from the city and the council attorney. It specifically states that any reasonable person could ascertain whether there will be a conflict of interest if I voted on budgetary issues.
Right.
However, in order to go around that in a legal perspective, we've had this issue regarding the money, as far as us having a lack thereof and city schools having a lack thereof as well. So I thought to myself, there's something I can't do. And one thing that we've discussed this past fiscal year is any way that we can recover some of our costs through generating revenue. And as you all know, this last fiscal year, I proposed 6 items, 5 of them passed, to where we were able to propose collectively revenue streams of over $10 million. And this is not just one time, but this will be every single year. And it's minimalized on the Memphis taxpayer. It's more of a controlled cost, things of that nature. Going back into the classroom, yes.
I'm sorry, wait, so maybe I missed it.
I'm sorry.
So you propose new ways to collect income for the city of Memphis?
Yes.
Okay.
To where it could be earmarked wherever it needed to be, because I know that we were looking at things in several divisions, including paying Memphis City Schools.
Right, okay, but not necessarily, you couldn't advocate for that money to go for schools?
Well, the mayor would, since it would go to the general fund,
Right.
It could go to it. As a matter of fact, I've had several conversations with the mayor as far as ways that we can bring in revenue so that we could pay our bills essentially. And after we pay our bills, and we could actually do some things that promote the quality of life for everybody.
What were these? Could you give me at least like a couple of these items? What were you
Yes,
more specific?
no problem. One of them was increasing the court costs from $65 to $61 to $135. One was also outsourcing the uncollected debt that we've had from 2002 to 2006. We've had over $35.9 million worth of uncollected fines and fees over that particular time. And talking to the city court clerk, Thomas Long, he lost approximately 27% of his complement due to budgetary reasons. So I brought up that idea. Even if we could find a way to get 10% of that money back, that's still $3.6 million. A couple other things that we looked at now. My item that did fail was the $7 inspection fee on the tags, because money is not specifically earmarked toward the vehicle inspection. A couple of things that we looked at dealt with weights and measures, looking at making sure that grocery stores were doing it appropriately. Yes, all of those things. So collectively, that would generate over $10 million worth of new money.
And that's,
Like I said, it's controlled. So for instance, if you don't get pulled over, you don't pay. If it's so many other things to where, like I said, it is a controlled cost. It doesn't hit everybody. However, it should serve, and I know the Olive Branch mayor mentioned this when he had proposed it. He said it should be more of a detriment to doing the right thing at the end of the day. One thing that I know, and we'll probably get to this this type of question later, but if we see people actually doing it right, it'll actually trickle down to the children. Because what I've noticed is if you have particular, excuse me, if you have a particular demeanor, like for instance, I got to have a particular demeanor in class, because if I act a particular way, the students in one shape, form, or fashion are going to indirectly or directly act a particular way as well. So putting that in that particular perspective, and I did get some backlash about that. I know some people might have argued where you're drawing a different socioeconomic group to not be able to pay this and that. I said, but at the same time, you should know not to run a red light. You should know not to park illegally. You should not know to do particular things. So that was my argument on that, because at the end of the day, if we show that we're being responsible and we're being accountable for our actions, like I said before, it should trickle down to those who are much younger, who are watching the grown-ups as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you wear a coat and tie to teach class?
I'm sorry?
Do you wear a coat and tie to teach class?
Yes, I do. It's up on Fridays.
I like that.
I do. And tomorrow I'll be wearing the same thing. Well, not the same suit, no. But I'll be wearing another suit, but I do. And let me tell you what I've noticed. I have gender-based classes this year. When I had it 3 years ago, my men made sure when they walked into my classroom, before they came through that door, there's like a little wooden line before you can get into the classroom. Those shirts were tucked in, the collars were right, and they didn't have anything that was conspicuously related to anything that might have been negative as well. So me doing this, and they noticed, because I know when they're supposed to dress up on particular days, they're like, I want to dress like Mr. Ford.
Yeah,
So yes, I do.
yeah, I like it.
And they're gender-based classes in
I
Central?
have, we have gender-based classes for our core classes, because studies have shown that if you put girls with girls and guys with guys, a lot of the conflicts that you have when you have both genders is gone. However, you might have some of those other ones. But what I've noticed is, and this goes back to my scores being the highest 3 out of the last 4 years. The first year where my scores were at the top tier, when we had the Gateway, my students scored the top 8% of the state. It was gender-based, because you had girls working with girls. You had guys working with guys. You didn't have to let go of me, leave me alone, this, that, and the other.
Right.
But it's interesting because on the first day of school, they asked me what was my opinion, the students did. And I said, I'm fine with it, because I don't have to worry about girls touching girls and guys touching girls. Girls touching guys and guys touching girls. I said, now, am I going to have guys touching guys in here? No, Mr. Ford, we're not going to do that. No, no, no. I said, I just want to make sure, because y'all be play fighting in the hallway and everything. But what I've noticed is they're more concentrated. They don't have to show out. Like, if you were in my classroom and I liked you, I don't have to show out and everything. I'm not going to show out for Mark, with all due respect. But
So is that in the
Yes.
traditional program they're doing that? Or traditional and optional at Central?
mostly for the core classes, like your ones that